Hey, and welcome to Cherie's World Podcast. I am Cherie Johnson, along with my co-host, Mr. Courtney Blackman. And today we're going to talk about a really serious topic, something that has definitely touched my life and most Black families out there. Black women die 3 times the rate as white women during childbirth. So today I have the first one that I know about. A male doula is going to be in the house. His name is Mr. Dustin Young, and he is on a quest to stop Black women dying from childbirth. So without further ado, please stay tuned and meet Mr. Dustin Young.
The only podcast coming through your beat stereo is Cherie's World, so let's go around like a merry-go. Plug your phone in, make sure it got a full battery. Download it Wednesday, listen to it Saturday. She cover all topics, whatever you after. She got ball players, authors, doctors, actors, rappers, singers, entrepreneurs, divas, leaders, Androids or Apple, turn up your speakers. Trying to shoot my shot like the vaccine, whether it's Cherie or Maxine, whether the podcast or acting, she that queen. PYT, you know what that mean. Saw you on TV and touch the screen, touch on you. I plead Lucy's got a crush on you. It'll mean the world to get a blush from you. Teaspoon to me, leave you sleep like Robitussin do.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I have a really big question for you. Women and labor, right? What made you become interested in helping women have babies?
To be honest with you, it's always been an interest of mine since I was younger. I grew up in a family of, I have a lot of aunts and cousins, and I have 3 sisters as well, but I also grew up with my older sister. We're 11 months and 10 days apart. So I kind of grew with her changes, and me and my dad had to kind of be there for her while she was going to do puberty and all these amazing things you guys' bodies go through around the 12, 13-year-old age. I also had an aunt who, actually my aunt and my grandma has zero filter whatsoever. So I might be sitting there watching Power Rangers as a kid, and they talk about God damn, I'm bleeding all over the place. And I'm like, all right, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and y'all just ruined this for me. I'm just go outside and play today. So it was always there, and always had an interest. And to be honest with you guys, it was this movie back in the day. I'm 37, so it was a movie called Look Who's Talking.
Oh.
And the intro is I've always been a kid who just asks other questions why this, why that. But the intro, you actually see the sperm moving, and then you see this one that makes it and hits an egg, and I'm like, yo, what the hell is happening? I'm asking my dad, I'm like, what is this? And after that, you go through the whole movie, and I just start asking more and more questions, what is human existence? Where do kids come from? How? What goes on inside? And it just sparked my interest from there. And as I got older, this becoming a young man and just being explored into this a woman's anatomy and what you guys are able to do internally, just sparked a little bit more interest. So
can you stop right there? Cherie, did you see that movie?
Yes, I did. In fact, my daughter saw it, and my daughter asked me, what is that? And she asked me, was it a tadpole? And I had to tell her, no, it was an egg being fertilized is all I said, because I wasn't mature enough to have that conversation. She was 5 at the time.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, my family, they was it's a sperm. This is what sperm do. It carries DNA to the egg and sparks this huge thing, and then babies are formed. What?
Okay, so this is great to know. Did they explain to you how the sperm got in there? Because when she asked me where do babies come from, I told her to get out of the room because I just couldn't have the conversation. And I text messaged my brother, and Dre said, be honest with her. You have to tell her the truth. And I said, well, let her call you, and you tell her the truth, because I'm not ready for this.
Yeah. My dad is a very honest, the whole family has no filter whatsoever. And they always talk to us like adults. But it was, you could tell it was a nervousness conversation, I guess, when it was time to have that convo. But it's men and women, they fall in love and they make love and they have this amazing experience, and then what comes from that is the sperm that's within the male's body is pushed through the woman's body, and there's this one that just floats through and it hits the egg. And I'm yeah, okay, love making, sperm. All right, got it. I get it. But it wasn't until like I got about like a little bit older, like 12, 13 is when like me and my dad has had more deeper conversation with that
Hey man,
experience.
I got three kids, and my wife to this day she says you just now figured out where babies come from. I mean, she jokes with me like that because like my mom tried to have that conversation with me when I was a kid, and my mom's a nurse,
Yeah.
you know, RN. So this is the 80s and 90s, so she's, you know, using all these doctor medical terms, and just I fell asleep, and I was like, this
Right, yeah. Like I hear you, Mom. All right.
I never forget vaginal secretions. I'm like, what the fuck is vaginal secretions?
And maybe that was done on purpose to like turn you away from, you know.
My mom's a nurse too, and our conversation was very different. It was like everybody has herpes, everybody has an STD.
Yeah.
Syphilis.
My dad gave me that conversation to steer me away from getting someone pregnant early. He's like, look, you have sex, here's some pictures of what happens. I'm like, what? What is this? I'm never doing it ever again. Like,
yes.
Like, and then like I went through the class because they still have like that health class where they show videos and pictures. And I was like, yo, this is what Pops was talking about. This is disgusting. This is what happens to my mans. Like, never. I'm not doing nothing. I'm cool.
No. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Say it, Courtney.
But this guy I know, he said his brother, that's the reason why his brother is gay, because his mom told him what could happen if he had sex with a woman. So he said that's the reason why.
Wow.
That's what they told me.
That's interesting. Very possible.
It's a good excuse, but that's not what he's saying.
Okay. Right.
Now I have a question. So growing up and being like really interested in women's bodies, right?
Yeah.
That means that you did something that most men don't do. Like most men can't even find the hole. So you actually took the time to learn, right?
It was more on my own personal self journey. So it was me, my sister, and my dad. And my dad, I pretty much like raised both of us. My grandma was there a lot, as well as like my aunt. But there was still like just trauma there, like, you know, issues like me and my mom and everything. So as I got a little bit older in college, I switched my major from computer science to like psychology, and double major psychology and sociology. And I started tapping more into like this early childhood development. I started working with group home kids or at risk in the foster care system, and started seeing like how I was able to relate and meet them where they're at and introduce them to education that's around like behavioral issues and how to choose alternative adaptive behaviors to refrain from like aggression or whatever. And doing that process, I found like my own healing and started going to therapy and started tapping into like growth. And during this time, I started doing a little bit more education and research just on how to, one, just be better man and how to show up a little bit more, but also to like my grandfather was diagnosed with like liver and lung cancer, and I started doing research on how to save him and how that tied into like the foods that we eat and like gut health. And doing this process, like I always still had like this interest into like the women's anatomy, so I started doing a little more research on like what goes on internally, like what are fibroids, like why are these things like more common in Black women. My aunt had like a hysterectomy. She went through the whole issue with like fibroids, and she never had kids. Granted, she didn't really want any, but the option wasn't there anymore because she just always had very, very bad cramps. And that's like when I was younger, she would always come out like, fuck, my damn cramps is killing me. And she was just always as frustrated and angry. But I don't know how old you guys are, but there was this red rubber tube back in the day that you would fill up with hot water. That was like my first introduction of like filling that up and burning my damn hands and like giving that to like my aunt or my sister to like, a heating pad. I think.
Oh, a heating pad. I thought you were talking about the dish bottle.
No.
Oh no.
They used to keep it behind the. They used to keep it behind the. They used to keep it behind the bathroom door.
Absolutely.
That's what I thought he was going to talk about.
No.
So it was a heated pad. So those were one of my introductions to it. So it wasn't till my sister, she was 21. So she went to Langston University in Oklahoma, and she ended up getting pregnant out there. And she just didn't have a support system because I moved to New York at this time. And I was out there and I'm talking to her, like going through the process, whatever, like, being there as much as I can. But the medical assistant that she had out there just wasn't as present or wasn't listening to her as much.
Mm-hmm.
And she wasn't supported. And also she was young, so she's nervous. She's going through a lot of stuff. She's stressing, her and the guy having like their issues. And not sure what kind of caused and led to like her stillbirth, but like at 5 months, she discovered like the heart stopped beating. So she was already in the process of moving back home because we wanted her to have like her birth and go through the last few months, the last trimester at home, so we could really support. And she came back and had to go through that whole process. And, when you're about 5 months, you have to actually deliver. So like that caused like mental health. And my sister, she's like younger, but also like she puts on like this front, like she's very strong and she can handle stuff. And my mom took it as if like, oh, Lexi's good. But these are the kids that I actually work with a lot. So I pretty much saw through that. Like, she's not well. She needs support. Like, how can we like help her create a space for her to like when she's ready to share what she's going through internally. And she had to take it in her own time. So fast forward 24, she got pregnant again with another young man. And this time she was like a little bit more nervous because she's considered high risk now. So I told her like, look, I always had an interest in tapping into what midwifery and doulas and all this stuff is. I've been trying to get into it like 2 years prior to her getting pregnant. I never had the time because I was working a lot. I was focusing on like my nonprofit organization where I was spending not too much. I was just exhausted and putting a lot of time into growing it. So I didn't have the time to take the classes, but I came across this place called Kindred Space LA. And I was just following them on Instagram. So they always had these posts and I was like, oh, very educational. They have these classes for dads. Like, I think it's like Donut Dads Days. And I will always like I'm this call. I want to take it with this one woman named Kim because she seems like she has amazing energy. And I didn't have the opportunity to do it yet until my little sister got pregnant. And my friend, Stacey, was actually pregnant at the same time. So I referred her to Kindred Space LA, got her a doula. I found a doula for my sister. And the doula told me like, hey, like normally I charge for my assistant as well, but I hear you actually want to be in this world. How about you get some hands-on experience? You're going to be there as a brother anyway. So how about I cut the cost, you become my assistant, and then you support your sister. But you just got to put your doula cap on and, know when to take it off.
Beautiful. So, wait, before you continue, for people that don't know or have never heard the term, exactly what is the definition of a doula?
A doula is someone who is there to support mental, physical, emotionally before, during, and after the birth process. So, or after the catch. So whenever we can show up, even if that's like helping create like a birthing plan, providing resources, certain techniques that just helps on the physical side when she's going through whatever pain she's going through, just being there 100% support to give the confidence for her to go through the process and have this best birthing experience possible. So like technically, like, some people are confused, like, oh, you out here delivering babies, you're MD, you're a doctor, you're Grey's Anatomy, you out here. I'm like, nah, President, it's just a lot of information I'm learning myself, and I'm just providing this education to expectant mothers and showing up and just being there, being that support person that they need during this process to kind of ease the stress, because we know stress cause any type of complications during the process. So we want to avoid that as much as possible.
And that's good, man. Like I said, I'm a dad of 3, and I remember thank you. And I remember the first time my wife was pregnant, the doctor or whoever the woman that was in charge, she said, Dad, I think you need, oh yeah, she was a mean woman. She's like, you need to leave. Cause I just wasn't no good, in there. By the time of that, well, I never been good in there, I honestly, but it's very important though, man. You know what though?
Courtney.
I just, cause I'm so nervous, man. I don't want nothing to happen to my wife, but, if I'd known the things I know now, back when I was a child, and Cherie, you can answer this question too. It seems like, do you think it's something new, something else happening? Because it seems like now, or maybe I'm just more mature now and I can respect it more. It seems like it's harder now for women to have children. I'm noticing how hard it is for a lot of women to have children. But when I was younger, it didn't seem. Girls in high school were getting pregnant. I knew ladies that had 6 kids, 8 kids. Like, it wasn't no problem. But it seems like, or maybe I'm just.
It didn't affect you.
Like, for me, I think it's always been an issue. It's just being more acknowledged and reported now, because we have more access to internet, social media, all these things. But I think it's always been a problem. And, as we was growing up, like, I'm still part of like the internet phase and all that stuff. So I was only providing information in my own community. So whatever I saw within my own community is like, okay, everybody's like good for the most part. But, the internet and social media and all these things allowed us to expand outside of our community a little bit more, and also the United States, and see like the difference between what's really going on for like Black women in comparison to like Asian, whites, or any other races. And the numbers they are getting worse according to like some statistics here and there. But there's a lot of different factors that play a part. I think that's causing the issue to be worse.
Black women are 3 times more likely to die during childbirth than white women. My grandmother didn't get a chance to really know her mother because her mother died due to childbirth complications. I think my grandmother was 2 and her mother was pregnant again and she actually died. There was a study that was a lie where they said that Black women can sustain more pain than white women. And because nurses and doctors actually learn that in medical school today, some doctors and nurses who didn't grow up with any Black experience are ignorant, and they really believe that's true.
It's crazy, man.
So, yeah, when Black women are complaining a lot of times about what they're going through, their complaints are going unheard and ignored.
They say like is it like 67% of pregnancies that go left or wrong are preventable, and a lot of it's due to like miscommunication or lack of communication, or lack of understanding or listening to communication. Like they said, 90%. I think it's 90% that could be prevented by just listening to person who's having a baby. Like, yo, I'm feeling pain here. Okay, where? Let's search, let's research, let's dive into a little bit more, and we can find a problem or issue and then solve it. Versus like, oh no, you're okay, this is normal.
Because
clearly that's a response, and it's
they say, oh, it's just Braxton Hicks pains. Because I myself had a very hard labor, and thank God I have great insurance. I happen to have a wonderful team of doctors that helped my daughter get here. Dr. Van Geen was a dream come true to me. They caught that I was in labor at 14 weeks. I didn't even know I was in labor, because when I had made complaints to other women about the pains that I was feeling, they were like, that's Braxton Hicks pains, you're skinny, you're just spreading. That's literally what I was told. So I was like, okay, let me shut up and stop complaining, until I went in for my checkup. And my doctor literally said, get dressed and come in my office. And thank God my mom was there. My mom being a nurse, she knew that that's not what happens. I didn't know. So I got dressed. I went in there and he told me that I had to have emergency cerclage. And I said, okay, so when do you want to schedule it? He said, Cherie. I said, emergency.
Right.
And me being me, I was like, so when is that? And he was like, now. I said, I can't do it now. He said, what else do you have to do? I said, I need to go home and think and pray about it. And I asked him, I was like, what are the chances? And he said, if you have the cerclage, we might be able to save her. If you don't have it, she's going to be born without her lungs developed. So she's going to be in a chair the rest of her life. And I was like, well, what are the chances that while you're trying to put stitches in my cervix, you're going to break my back?
Yeah.
And he said, it's a 50-50 chance. But doing a preventative surgery, I've never broken a woman's water bag. And I told him, okay, we'll schedule it for the morning. And he was like, I want you to go now. And I was like, I can't, because I just had to mentally prepare myself and talk to the universe and see what the universe told me to do, which he thought was crazy, but I was like, whatever. But 7:00 in the morning, I was back there and I had my surgery and was able to bed rest on my back for 7
It's actually like, I had a similar experience with my godson. So one of my good female friends, she was pregnant with her first child. And I don't know exactly what happened. Like, I know she was in the house and she was reaching for a bowl out of the top cabinet, and she was going through this pregnancy. Like, the father wasn't as present as he needed to be. So she was just doing a lot, thinking she could still move and whatever, but the placenta separated, detached, and she just started bleeding uncontrollably. And luckily, her sister came home at the right time and rushed her to the hospital. But my nephew, my godson, actually was born for 2 months premature, which also like led to like a lot of lung issues that he has now. He's 16, but his entire life has been steroids. It's been like a lot of these things that's been like helping him like kind of develop a stronger lung. But yeah, she went through that process, and it was a lot because she almost lost her life. Like, they was gonna be able to save the baby, but she lost so much blood. And luckily, they said they got her to the hospital right enough time because she was not gonna make it.
Oh, well, the doctor told my family that. They said that we're more afraid of Cherie making it than the baby. The baby, 9 out of 10 will be fine, but she might not be, because I had contractions for the entire 7 months. I was put on heart medicine because they were scared I was going to have a stroke, and come to find out the heart medicine actually helps with contractions. I got the whole steroid shots in my butt every week. So yeah, it was a mess.
And glad you're here and the baby's safe.
Thank you. And she is perfect.
Nice.
But she gave me problems right until they cut her out. We lost her heartbeat. It was a whole ordeal. And I was like one of those that got pregnant. And I was like, it's going to be beautiful. I'm going to have a home water bath with a doula.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that.
And my wife, she actually had problems for our first child. She actually had problems after she delivered. She was bleeding. Well, you guys probably, help me. But anyway, I had to rush her back to the hospital because they had to restitch her and they had to do a surgery, and they had to. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it, but somebody knows what I'm talking about. Yeah,
she hemorrhaged.
Yeah, and they said she could have died.
Yeah.
So it's like, so that's why I've been like, I just. But anyway, I got to ask you a question though. Cherie, you mentioned it too. So 2 of my kids, they were both vaginal births. My last one was he was so big, my wife just couldn't push him out, so they felt we got to cut him out. So, but now he's the only one that has allergies. Do you think there's anything with that?
Because of doing like a C-section?
Yeah. Do you think there's a difference between C-section births and births that?
There's definitely like a difference. One, like a C-section birth could cause like more issues for the woman later on. There's studies out there that shows complications later on with her personal health. But as the correlation between allergies between like a C-section versus a vaginal, I'm not quite sure.
I know they were saying you get so many nutrients going through the birth canal and all that kind of stuff. So I was just curious about that. And the other thing,
I just wondered, did she breastfeed?
Yeah, my wife breastfed. Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say, because you usually have more allergies if you're not breastfed. I was not breastfed. I'm allergic to everything.
Really?
Yes.
And my wife breastfed for like 2 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you get everything from like the breast, man. Like all the nutrients needed, like you get everything. Okay. So that's why it's highly recommended for sure, and it's good for the recovery of the woman after birth. And like I nerd out over the placenta. Like it's something that I find amazing. Like when I talk to the homies sometimes, like, yo, like what the who? I'm like, bro, you don't understand. Like there's an organ that's created into the woman's body that's not there at all. And then it leaves the body and is no longer there, but it provides like the oxygen and food supply and everything. And it's also, it's like a shield that's protecting the baby from like the mother's blood and cells, because I guess the cells come through if that placenta is not there and see the baby as a foreign object and attack and cause issues and probably like might kill the fetus or whatever. And we can't see this. And I think this is why like I tend to like try not to normalize things that I find extraordinary, because like I just want to get excited every time. Like the fact that, and yes, it's our sperm as well, that's that one that has enough stamina that could get up there and hit the egg, and create this amazing being inside. But like the development that's going on within a woman's body is extraordinary. And the fact that this organ is created that protects, provides, and then detaches after. I just find it like phenomenal.
And I agree. When I first heard about the placenta, here's the question I have for both of you. Why do they take the placenta away and you're only allowed to keep it if you have like 6 figures? Like it's yours. It came out of your.
You don't need 6 figures, but you can like freeze it and keep it. There's like a service.
It depends on, because this is something that I'm going to tap into probably like when I get some more time, is like placenta encapsulation, and figuring out like how to take that approach. But it depends on the hospital because there's a lot of red tape. Like I'm not saying it becomes their property, but like there's just a lot of red tape, and you can within your birth chart, within your doctor, and actually communicate with the hospital to see if there's a way to like, take it with you, and do what you need to do with it and freeze it and walk away with it.
No, that's so strange because my doctor asked me, like it was a whole conversation when I was on the table, even though I'm one of those patients that doesn't have.
You have a good doctor.
Yeah, my doctor asked me, do you want to keep the placenta? Are you interested in keeping her core? Should we freeze it? Okay, now this is a question. I've heard about women putting it in a shake and drinking it.
Yeah, I heard that too.
You also even like cheeking it. So like you'll slice it up. So supposedly, and don't quote me on this one, but you could slice up the placenta a little bit, cheek it, and whatever nutrients is coming from that does something to the body that helps somehow. But
cheek it and put it in
you put in your mouth, yeah. But there's so much like nutrients and everything within there. It's life, like it was protecting and feeding like the child. So there's so much in there that saving it and freezing it and then putting in shake, yes, it's like sea moss, I guess. Like you just get all these nutrients within the body and it becomes a thing. And that's why like a lot of people encapsulate it, because it's easier to the thought to just put in a pill and just take it without thinking about like eating your own.
They asked me and I was like, bruh, I think that's a little bit too Hollywood. Yeah. I don't want no placenta shake. But it was like him and the anesthesiologist, like we were having the conversation, and I had a great team of doctors.
It's not common from my age. Like that didn't even ask my sister. It happened so quick. My nephew came. It was he was healthy, but the experience, I didn't personally think it was the best. I was advocating for her as much as probably like the doula was falling behind, so she got there like a little bit later. But she was there in the process. But I was speaking up a lot, and we wasn't heard at all. And it was the frustrating part. So when she finally started contracting and going through her labor, she wanted to labor at home as much as possible. Mm-hmm. She wanted to like at least do up to like 7 to 8 centimeters because she didn't want to be in the hospital with these bright lights, the machines beeping, this cold room. It wasn't a vibe, right? So the goal was to kind of create this atmosphere and this space for her at the house. So once she actually came back home, because she was in Riverside, like 2 hours away from where she was at or where she lives, and she got home and I got over there and kind of like told my mom, let's turn the TV off. Brought my diffuser. We had like lavender scents going throughout the entire place. Had some candles lit, had some Erykah Badu playing. Like it was just creating this space and this vibe. We had our yoga ball. And every time she was contracting, like I was just, all right, let me hit these pressure points that are, I guess, in the lower back. Every time she contracts. And this is why, like they said, like work is hard work, especially during labor, because we was going for like a smooth 10, 12 hours. Every time, like, gosh, like here. We'll do some like S-shape rolling to kind of help with the pain, bouncing a ball, massaging shoulders, like letting her just lay like feet on the bed. It's just so much, and it's a lot of like, vampires. Like I'm like lifting and doing, and like my back was hurting. I was tired, and we went to like the middle of the night. It was like 4 in the morning before, or like 3 or 4 in the morning before the doula showed up, and she took over. And by 7 o'clock, I was counting her how far her contractions apart. And I was like, okay, well, it looks based off of this, you're getting close. And I was told when you guys become a little bit nonverbal, we're getting a little bit closer. So it's more screaming, you're not able to communicate. I'm like, I'm just going to go off those signs that we're about 7 centimeters dilated because I can't, I wasn't trained to see how many centimeters my sister was dilated, but also like I wasn't prepared to do that with my sister's vagina to measure. So,
Yeah.
But like once she said she couldn't take it no more, we left, we drove. That's a whole experience in itself. Like almost took us out, but it was we got there safe. And by the time we got to the hospital, we spoke with the nurse, and I thought we was good. And the unfortunate thing, there was 3 or 4 Black nurses that was a part of the whole experience. So I'm like, okay, this is going to be good. The problem is sometimes, and it's not to shade any like nurses or hospital experience, because a lot of people have great births and experience as well there. But this particular situation that I experienced, the hospital is a system. And the workers, fall into the system. And sometimes the nurses, they deliver so many babies throughout the day, throughout the week. It becomes like we just normalize. Like,
oh yeah,
you're okay.
Sad because I had my nurse would not leave. Yeah. She was off work and she said, "I'm not leaving till you have."
Well, did you have the same nurse and everybody from beginning to end
of my labor?
Yeah. Well, no, of your entire 9 months, like every time you had to go to your check-ins.
I mean, I had my same yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I had the same team.
I'm like Cherie. My wife, we had the same team. We met 4 or 5 doctors that if this doctor, the main doctor was supposed to do it, but they said this one's not going to do it.
Yeah.
Because for whatever reason, then this one would. We met the whole team just like Cherie. So
yeah, my doctor.
We met complete strangers the day of. So we had the team like leading up, and everybody was cool. But by the time we actually had to go to the hospital, like I never seen these nurses before. My sister had never seen, they didn't know really her name. So like I think that also was like, oh no, you're going to labor. Okay, let's get her into the room. But before we even got to the room, I told them like I think she's close to 10 centimeters dilated. Like it's go time. They're like, oh no, we need a urine sample. We need to get her here. And my sister's like, no, I'm going to push my baby in the toilet if I have to give you a fucking urine sample. So like,
yeah.
And they just not listening until they took her to the bathroom. It's like, oh, I think you're right. Let's go. And they put her in the room finally. And I'm yelling, but I'm like talking to the doctors in the nurses in very strong voice. Like, look, like, here's the birth plan. This is what we want to do. She wants to give birth in these positions. If this is the primary position, if it doesn't work, she wants to go into these before like going into the laying down position. She doesn't want an epidural. This is the vibe we want in this space. Hi, my name is Dustin. Her name is Alexis. Like, introduce yourself. Like, oh no, we're good. Like, we got this. They put her down in the bed. They laid her down. They put her legs up. It's like, oh, okay, ring of fire. She's crowning. Let's go. Push, baby comes out. Like nothing was really like listened to. And then also our birthing plan, we said we wanted to delay clamping. And it was on like, look, we're delaying clamping. As soon as the baby comes out, boom, clamp, umbilical cord. I'm like, whoa, no. We got a few minutes before you clamp. Like, let's get some more pulsating nutrients to the baby. We don't clamp right now. So it was just like that. And it was just more like they was like, look, who are you? Like, and that's sometimes the frustrating part because like nurses look at doulas as if we're trying to overmind them. Like we went to medical school and we just know what's best. It's not necessary that we're here to support the mother. We're here to provide whatever support she needs and to speak for her because she doesn't need to really talk because she needs to put all the time, energy, and focus into her delivery.
Yeah.
So like we have developed this relationship over the course of 9 months. Granted, I've been there her entire life because I'm her brother, but like we developed this relationship over 9 months. She's trusted us to kind of like step in when we need to step in. So we're letting you know, like, this is what she wants. And we didn't get nothing, essentially. And
I have a question. Beforehand, my doctor is the one that told me, write down my birthing plan, write down everything I want, who I want in the room. If there's somebody he needs to remove, let him know. I like literally, he did. My doctor was amazing. I literally handed in this paper, like, I think I was like 7 months. And I was like, this is what I want. And he said, okay. And I wanted to have a natural birth. Unfortunately, we lost her heartbeat.
Yeah.
And so after it was like 15, 16 hours of labor, and they lost her heartbeat, and I wouldn't open up past the 6. So he literally comes to me and says, kiddo, I'm sorry. I know this is not what you wanted, but I have to take her. Yeah. And I was like, just get her out. But he literally went by that plan. So did they not ask your sister to turn in any kind of birthing plan, or did you guys? Or
we gave the birth, but the problem is the birthing plan went to a nurse or doctor that wasn't present. So like, again, like these are all new people. So that's why I had copies of it. So when I get there, it's like, hey, this is what we've given to the previous nurses and doctors, that because she had like 2 changes because someone went on vacation.
But you know what? But you know, I think the difference is because when maybe Cherie, I don't know the difference between my wife's situation and your situation and what he went through. My wife was actually induced. Am I saying that right? Induced?
Yeah, he was induced.
So it was almost like a planned pregnancy. Yeah. They told her to come in. Were you like that too, Cherie, right?
No, I didn't have no appointment. My water broke.
Oh, your water broke. Oh, okay.
Yeah, my water broke.
Oh, okay. So they like made a date for my wife to come in. I remember my second one, they wanted her to come in on Thanksgiving. She's like, nah, I done had him in. I'm going to enjoy one holiday. And she was like, I'll see you Monday. And so we came in that Monday. But yeah, it was like, and it took like 15 hours, man. It was like forever.
Yeah. The only thing I didn't get on my birthing plan was Subway. I had plans because I knew once I got to the hospital, they weren't going to give me no food.
Right.
So I had plans on the Subway and get me a sandwich on the way.
Yeah, because you only get ice, right? You only get like ice and stuff.
I don't even think I even got ice. I don't even think I got that. I tried to get my cousin to give me a pizza, but she wouldn't do it because I was already.
I tell you what, Dustin, I really respect what you're doing, man, because I say this to a lot of the guys now, and I look like the softie, but I said any man that actually goes through this with the woman, you got to be a cold-blooded brother to walk away from her after she done gave you a kid, man. Because like when you see that process, like, man, it's. Hey, let me ask you this.
Yeah, it made me like I got all because I have rubber gloves in my pocket. We was prepared just in case we had to deliver in a car. But like once I got into the room, I put gloves on, and the nurse was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I don't know. I think I'm about to catch the baby." He's like, "Man, get out of here! Like, we got this."
They didn't let you do it?
Huh?
They didn't let you do it?
Well, technically, I guess, like in a hospital, like we can't catch the baby. So I was there. I still watched, and to watch the first push, and then the head comes out, and then like the second push, and then it's like shoulders are like wiggling out, and then third or fourth push, like the whole body comes out. To watch all of this, I'm sitting there. I'm like, man, fuck, man. God damn, man, what the fuck is going on in my body? Like, what are these? Are these tears? Like, I can't control what's going on. Like, you just feel something, and then you make that connection, that bond. And I think that's why I don't know fully exactly how, like, I don't have the grand plan yet on how I want to use whatever knowledge I've gained so far. But, like, these conversations I've been having with a lot of men, and just talking to them through the process, giving them information, just letting them know the importance of just being there, just being present. It's so much because, you know, my little sister, like her baby daddy, he's a guy.
But not just being present.
he wasn't present.
Be present and supportive.
Yeah. Present and supportive.
Not cause drama.
Yeah, at all. And that's the thing. I made a decision and also told her, like, look, what's more important is for you to have the best birth experience possible. If he's causing you stress and drama right now, you need to explain this to him and let him know that you need some space. And he could give him the opportunity to be present and show up. But if he doesn't want to take that in the most positive, like, you don't need this negative energy there, because we don't want to see what happened, what occurred the first time. You know,
Yeah,
so like we need
right.
you to be conscious. We need you to be at peace. And if there's any issue, I'll holler at him. Like, well, I'll talk to him, which I did. I'm like, look, bro, like, I had to give him one of those talks. So, he came after the baby was born, but we avoided the drama leading into it. I think if men just fully understood what women are going through,
if you really understood, brother, I swear.
it's not like, we putting you guys on this crazy pedestal, like man ain't shit. It's like, nah, it's just an understanding. Like we both, like even men, like we have our own emotions and stuff that we go through during this process, and we need to understand we're part of this process. And we need our outlets to vent. Like, we could get frustrated because we don't know, and sometimes, a woman might tell us like, man, you should know these things. Like, man, I don't know what hemorrhage means. Like, God damn, I'm trying to read these books. Like, it's so much.
And see, that was me, bro. My wife, my first child, my wife had got this book, and I was flying a lot. And she was like, when you fly, because that's the only time I read was when I was flying, and I fly home. And she was like, yeah, you read this book, and then when you get back, we'll discuss what I'm like, man, I ain't doing this shit. You know what I'm saying? I ain't doing it. So she got pissed off, and like that's when I saw the strength of a pregnant woman. She like ripped the book in half and threw the books like, you motherfucker, and I was like, but yeah,
you have to understand too, like what women,
that's the least you could do is read a book.
You can do.
You have to understand, like the woman, you can speak to this too, Cherie. Like you guys' hormones are going way up here. Yeah. And it's something that you guys can't control. It's just like your hormones are all over the place. And the reality